So hello everyone and welcome back to MAQ TV. We are bringing you more exclusive news and more exclusive interviews. So today I have with us a talented all-rounder, ZISHAWN QURESHI. So ZISHAWN, you're coming live from Florida. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, honestly. I mean, despite all the circumstances with the shutdown and everything,
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. They've opened up something so we can go out running. It's a little easier to get an exercise in, so I'm holding up
Yes.
here.
So I can see that you're back at home. So how was it, being in Orlando, and how has it been traveling back and forth as well?
It's honestly been very peaceful because no one's on the road, so it's a nice little drive. And then over here we have nets at my dad's house, so I get
Yeah.
to practice a bit more than I would up in Orlando.
Exactly. And I know in Orlando you were also working. So kind of tell me about that. How is it kind of going out there in the workforce, and being able to take those precautions as well and keep yourself safe?
The workforce is tough. The biggest precautions, obviously, that we take are wearing masks and gloves.
Yeah.
They make us change our gloves like every 2 hours, so
Okay, that's good.
it's
Yeah.
very consistent, and I think that's the important part because the only way you can, you know, bring the number of cases down and have more people recover is through these precautions.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think across like across USA, I think a lot of states, they are starting to slowly open up. And I know in Florida, many places, beaches and things are also opening up. So hopefully, people are able to still keep up with those precautions and stay safe while they're still enjoying and going about their daily routines. And then speaking of routines, what have your lockdown schedules been like? Have you been doing any other things, new hobbies that you finally found?
No, I mean, a lot of it's just work. You know, you come back from work, you don't want to do much, so I try to take a run every day,
Yeah.
do some sort of exercise. Just really get some stretching in, at least the bare minimum to,
Mhm.
keep fit and just keep ready to play once, cricket decides to open back up.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you've been able to keep that exercise going. So how is that working out? I mean, it's good to keep that training going as a cricketer so that once, cricket is back, you don't have to adjust to it. Your body is still warm enough to go out there and kind of be able to play.
Yeah, I think that's why the important part is that unfortunately in Orlando, we don't have nets, but when I do get the chance to come home, I have some nets, so I get to have a little hit.
Definitely.
I get to ball a bit, and that way, mentally you're always ready.
Hmm.
The biggest part is like this is tough on you mentally not being able to do so much. So finding little
Exactly.
ways to continue doing things is,
Yeah.
key to getting through this.
Yeah, definitely. So now a question. If you had to be quarantined with one of your US All-Stars teammates, who would it be?
Ali.
Okay. So you guys would keep yourselves really entertained?
Yeah, he's a very special character, so he always keeps me entertained.
That would be good, definitely, definitely. So now let's kind of go into that cricket side. So, you've been with US Open since the start. How was it kind of when you first were a part of US Open? How did it feel to have such a big league like that? It was only a year after IPL started when US Open also started. So how did it feel, having a league like that to participate in?
Well, I was about 10 when US Open started.
Yeah.
Um, So it was like eye opening for me. It was like seeing all those players there, seeing, a lot of big name players and all these teams in one place. Just the
Yeah.
competition was awesome. It was cool to see everything be put together.
Yeah. Well, let's take a step back and first find out, when did you actually start playing cricket? Growing up in America, what kind of got you into cricket?
Actually, I started playing cricket. I picked up a knee injury in school, and while I was, recovering from my knee injury and spending time at home and with the family, I would go to the cricket games and just watch my dad play. And
Okay.
I would watch them play. And then one day I decided to try and play myself. It
Yeah.
was around 2008 when before US Open started, when they had the MAQ T20. That
Yeah.
was when I really started to play cricket.
Okay. And kind of what was it about cricket that you kind of really liked and that excited you besides, all these American sports that we also have, but what was it towards cricket that kind of, was like, no, I want to give a chance at cricket. I want to get better at cricket.
I think the biggest part of it was the influence from my father, having that
Yeah,
background. It was a way to spend time with him. Where if I
yeah,
went to play soccer or anything like that, I'd be away from him while he plays cricket. So it was
exactly.
just, a way to bond with my father.
Yeah. So now let's go back to US Open. So with US Open, having 12 editions so far, how has it been? How have you seen the progress, over the years? So why don't you share from your own eyes? Because you've been in the involvement, you've seen your father work so hard over the years, you've seen it improve. So tell me some insights about how you've seen the changes happen.
Well, I think a lot of the changes happened through the cash prize. Just because he kept raising the cash prize, we would get players, who were serious about winning. You'd get these big name players come here and they actually want to win because there's
Mhm.
something good to be won. And I think just having those players there has made the biggest impact because, once 4 or 5 players start coming, then 10, 15 players start coming. And that's how
Yeah.
it's grown over the years. And, last year, there was not one team without an international player on their team.
Mhm.
So just that level of competition and the way they've consistently managed to keep people interested and grow then
Yeah.
through the number of teams or through the size of the team. And
Yeah.
so I think it's those things that really brought US Open to where it is today.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you think, Mr. Qureshi and the Cricket Council USA team have kind of made sure that each time the tournament becomes of that professional level, so that it's not just a normal tournament that's just happening in America, that it's also at that professional standard?
I think that goes into the planning. These tournaments, they take time to plan. And from seeing things from behind the scenes, I know they start planning these tournaments. They have 2 tournaments planned at the same time, so they're
Yeah.
always ready. They have all the work done sometimes a year before,
Yep.
just so that when the time comes, they can focus on the actual execution of the event.
Yeah, definitely. So you've also played, in CPL and GT20. So why don't you share some experience about both of those? So we'll start with CPL.
Yeah, so CPL was cool. It was in 2016 was I spent, around the Guyana Amazon Warriors team. And, at that time, Ali was also on the team. So it was like having someone close by, just, having someone you knew and introduce you to a lot of the other guys.
Yeah.
And I think, the interactions I had with the other guys is part of what made that experience so special. Just, getting to be around players like that, getting to ball to them in the nets, just, seeing their little nicks and knacks and just like learning, how each player is an individual
Yeah.
and seeing how, they all have the little things about them that make them a special player.
Yeah, definitely. And then how about GT20?
I think the coolest part about GT20 was, being on Toronto Nationals. We were led by Yuvraj, and just having Yuvraj, having Brendan, having Kieran in the team. These are 3 big name players, especially in
Exactly.
T20 cricket. And so getting to share the dressing room with them, just seeing how they view the game and seeing how they see the game, it's just like it's it's so different. Coming from
Mhm.
America, you don't see the game. You see the game a lot different because we don't have that history of cricket that these other
Yeah,
countries have.
yeah, definitely. So how would you say, you being a part playing in those two other leagues after, playing in US Open for so long, how would you say that US Open kind of prepared you for the going into those leagues where you're playing with so many other international players and, be able to get in that kind of environment?
Yeah, I think the good part is because of the knowing all these players and seeing all of them at the U.S. Open, it gave me familiar faces to see and
Yeah,
look forward to when I participated in CPL and GT20. Because the guys remember you. It's when they come for U.S. Open, that
yeah,
everyone's interacting so closely together that it's just like you really get to like meet the people. You
yeah,
don't have to worry about, oh, they're just walking by, you never say hi or anything. You actually
exactly,
talk to them at a tournament like US Open.
exactly.
And I think that's what's special about it.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. With US Open, you have that freedom to be able to talk to, talented players that play international level, whether it be Andre Russell, Sunil, Samuel Badri, depending on, whoever the players are. And plus, they get to see our talent, the Northeast talent. So, you, Ali Khan, Rizwan Chima, and so many other stars that the Northeast has, which, you don't really get to find that anywhere else in the Northeast. You have that tournament where you have so many professional cricketers, and I feel like for the Northeast, being a part of US Open is almost like being a part of IPL for an Indian, that's living in the country, because it's such an amazing experience that, everyone's always trying to find a team, hoping that they get a chance to play so that, they get to play at such a high level professional cricket tournament. So definitely. Now let's also talk about the MAQ T10. So how did it feel, when that was being in the process and when that came out, having a T10 tournament in America?
Yeah, honestly, when I heard of the concept that they were going to start doing this T10 tournament, I was kind of skeptical. I was like,
Mm,
10 overs is not enough. Like, you can't strategize a game and, just make these plans and follow through with them in 10 overs.
yeah,
And then the tournament happened. And it was fun just going out there, hitting from ball one. It's
exactly.
just like a license to go. It's like a net session. And it's just so cool treating a game like a net session. Like,
Yeah.
if you get out, hey, it's a 10 over game. It's okay.
Hmm.
Someone else is going to have their day and, make up the runs. But just to be able to go out there and, from ball one, if you see the ball, go for it, that freedom, it's nice. And I think that's what makes T10, a, a version of the game that can be really popular in America. It's short
Exactly.
and quick.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's, T20 and T10 are definitely the formats that, can be a way to capture that American audience. So it's really good to, have that format brought here so that, maybe there's more matches that come in the future that take upon that format. Now, share some light also on Cricket 59. So that is a totally new concept that was also brought by Mac. So you need to definitely share some of that, experience as well to the audience, because I think they're still learning about that concept.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept. I still don't think I fully understand it, but I think the craziest part is how the idea came about,
Mhm.
Like, where did he come up with the idea of just dropping one ball, giving you a free hit,
Exactly.
And we when we first played it in St. Martin, I think the coolest part was seeing how different it was. All these teams just like hitting a first ball six. I think in over 80% of the games in that tournament, the first ball was hit for a six.
Oh, wow.
And just seeing a game start like that, it's really interesting, especially if you think of it from the side of a baller. I mean,
Hmm.
what do you do to come back from getting hit for a six on your first ball? You have to
Yeah.
really think about what you're going to do, plan it out. And in a game that's still, just under 10 overs, it's like there's not much planning that you can actually execute.
Yeah, definitely. So how has it been, being able to captain these different sides and different formats, built you as a player, built you as a captain, being able to adjust mentally, whether it be, 59 or in a T10 or a T20, because obviously, you do have to adjust your playing as well as your captaincy. So how have you been able to kind of branch on that and kind of make yourself better at it?
I think the most important part about captaincy is, transparency, and not just transparency, but an, making sure people have an understanding that, you're there to help bring the best out of them,
Yeah,
because as long as, you give the hardest part is getting players to listen. That's
yes,
really it. Everyone's a professional at the end of the day, so they're going to do their job, but it's how well you do your job together, and
yeah,
that's that gel factor. So I think the biggest part about changing formats is making sure, as a captain, is just making sure you have all the players, gelled together and just like in a family environment, because at the end of the day, mistakes will be made, on the field. But as
yeah,
long as everyone's playing together, you can actually fight back. You can come
yeah.
back and win a game.
Yeah, definitely. So let's also touch upon the Youth US Open, having that happen for the past few years. What is your take on that? I mean, obviously for the youth to get an exposure like that, and usually it has been happening almost, around the same time when the US Open is happening. So a lot of these kids I've seen personally, they're so excited that international players are around, or international players have played in the same stadium they get to play in and whatnot. So how do you think, having youth tournaments like this helps kids kind of get exposure and helps benefit their cricket for the future?
I'm a really big fan of the youth tournaments, honestly. I think the biggest thing that makes me a fan of them is the fact that when I was starting out playing cricket out here, there wasn't youth cricket. I mean,
Yeah,
I was playing with adults from the age of 10.
yeah,
So just to see that how much youth cricket has grown, especially to have a tournament like that for youth, and
mhm,
they get the opportunity to play live on MAQ TV. So it's good
exactly,
memories for them. So to have those
exactly.
memories, that that stage set, that platform there for you, I'm happy that it's there, because though I can't take advantage of it, you know, it shows that the work that all of us put in, all cricket players who play in US Open, all cricket players who play around USA, the work we put in playing that game, every Sunday, all
Yeah.
those hours of practice, it shows that it's paying off because more
Yep.
people are playing the game.
Exactly. No, definitely. What are some tips you would want to give to youngsters? You're someone that they all look up to because you have been playing, cricket despite growing up in America as well, and you've gotten into other leagues as well. So what are some tips you would give to youngsters who are trying to, make it big, trying to make it into their own national team as well?
I think the biggest part is, confidence. You know, you could be the greatest player in the world, but if you have no confidence, you're not going to perform.
Mhm.
And talent can get you a long way, but talent can't get you everywhere. So even if you're a talented player, it's about being confident and working hard. Because at the end of the day, if you work hard, you'll pay off. I mean, the biggest example is Ali Khan.
Mhm.
He worked hard for years, and 5, 6 years down the line, now he's playing all over the world. But the work
Exactly.
he put in, the sacrifices he made for cricket were immense. And
Yeah.
so that really shows you, hard work does pay off.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. So now let's also take this time to touch upon women's cricket. So, MAC and the Cricket Council team are also doing a lot to try to enforce, women's cricket and try to get, women's cricket tournaments also going. So how do you think that's going to help? I know MAC is always telling me, you should start playing and whatnot. I mean, I feel like if I was younger and I had that opportunity, it would have been a different thing. But, what is that kind of there? Because there are a lot of women, I think, in the Northeast that want to have a playing platform like that.
Yeah, I remember not too long ago, I was actually following the USA women's team because they made it, they had a chance to make it to the World Cup. I don't know if they
Yeah.
did, but
No, they didn't, unfortunately. But
they
yeah, I
had the
mean,
chance to, and that shows that there is interest in USA for women's cricket. I
yeah,
think it's really just about trying to push people you can find to play cricket, or
yeah,
not even push them, but try and, introduce it to them so that
yeah. Having a
when they
platform, for them to get that opportunity to be playing, somewhere that's actually showcased, not just a normal tournament on some weekend, where it's a proper tournament.
exactly. And the thing is, when that's done, it helps grow the sport ultimately,
Exactly. Yeah.
because they see that there's something they can look forward to,
Hmm.
and it gives them a goal that they can set themselves, for the sport. And I think that's
Yeah.
important too.
Yeah. So, I mean, seeing your father, be involved with cricket and just trying to make cricket become like a place in America, basically, in the Northeast, if I must say. How have you seen him, work so hard? How have you seen him kind of develop things? I want to know some insights, because you live with him, so how hard he's working. So what have you seen over the years of, how his hard work has paid off? It's always been paying off, but for him to have gotten to this stage, what are some things that you've seen?
I think the biggest part is the imagery. You know, you need to be able to envision what you want, and it's
Yeah,
not just about how you envision you want it. It's
yeah,
also the bringing that envision to other people, making them believe that it's something that can happen.
yeah,
I think just through his efforts alone, other people can see what he's doing, not just appreciate it, but they
yeah,
can actually look to help because they see that he's made such a large impact. They want in on that too, And I think just basically the biggest part has been how he's envisioned it and how he's
Yeah.
pushed that envision on others.
Yeah. And the way he's able to, network out to people who don't know anything about cricket, but still bring in teams, from, their own states and whatnot to US Open. We saw that the last US Open where we had a lot of people come and a lot of team owners that were new and they loved it. It was their first experience. Some of them even brought their families. They had no background to cricket. So the way your father is able to approach other people and get them to love the game just as much as he does.
Yeah, it's nice every year to see those team owners who are learning the sport for the first time. I think
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the tournament, since it's a very, hands-on tournament. Everyone's very involved.
Yeah.
Even the players play a big role, every year in how the tournament goes down. And I think the biggest thing is that when they're playing a tournament like this, there's not as much stress. You want to win, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's much more relaxed circumstances. You don't have
Definitely.
all these people all over you all the time, and
Yeah.
you really get a chance to interact with the people who are there.
Yeah.
And I think, that's very special, especially for those owners who are learning the sport for the first time.
Yeah. And then how was that collaboration last season of the US Open? Being collaborated with Mutan Sultan, still being a captain, of a lot of players who played PSL the last season. How was that experience? Your dad was able to get like a team, a part of a team there. Also the owner of Mutan Sultan, Ali Turin, part of that. So how was that experience? It was a different concept that was brought.
Yeah, it was. I think the toughest part was making the team,
Hmm.
because I have a setup every year where I have the 8, 9 players who are the same.
Yeah, now
You
you had all
know,
these new players and you had to figure out, what their strengths are and whatnot to
so
build your team.
I couldn't bring a team of 15 players.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring too many players for a small tournament, but it's like
Yeah.
deciding which players of mine are going to stay, which players of mine are going to leave, and then
Hmm.
how are we going to utilize all their players. So just the pre-planning of the whole team
Yeah.
took a lot of time, but I think
Yeah.
ultimately it was very fun. It was a very
Hmm.
good tournament. The guys
Yeah.
were great, and it was very different as a captain, because I've always been used to getting a lot of messages, and more of the experienced guys, standing over my shoulder. But it was the first year where everyone was like, "Hey, do your thing." I
Okay.
looked at someone, I was like, asked a question, and he's like, "You're the captain. You just tell me what you want me to do." And
Yep.
I think it was a really good experience and a really good lesson to be
Yeah.
able to have that freedom as a captain, where
Yeah.
if you make a mistake, it's all on you, because
Yeah.
you you weren't taking advice from this year or that
Yeah.
year. And at the end of the day, it's always on you, but in your mind you'll always pick blame at
Yeah.
whose fault it is. But when you're 100% free like that with a team of that talent, you know you can make a couple mistakes and still come back.
Yep. Definitely. And if we talk about last season, your performance as well. You were scoring runs, taking wickets in like every single match. So how is that? I mean, a lot of people even saw, how much you've grown in the sport and were able to appreciate that, over the years, how you've been able to kind of capture everything you're learning and kind of make it, show it, with your talent, with your abilities and show it in the match. So I know like the previous season, a lot of people were just in awe by the way you were, captaining, the way you were scoring your runs and also taking wickets.
Yeah, it was a very special U.S. Open. I think the last 8 months, you know, with the blessings of God, have been really good for me. Um, I've just been playing a lot more cricket,
Hmm.
and I really think just having those extra matches have been making the difference. And it's fun going out there and doing something like that, especially on a platform like the U.S. Open. So it was
Exactly.
a very special tournament, and I hope next year it's even better.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't you share some of your special moments? What are some of your favorite innings that you've played that you still kind of remember?
I think I remember the biggest innings I remember, the most memorable innings was actually from the previous US Open when I got out on 46,
Yeah.
because I I saw the field setting on the ball that I got out, and I knew where I needed to hit the ball, but I was trying to avoid that field setting. And just trying to play across the line got the better of me.
Mm, definitely. So let's also kind of touch upon what else, when you think that cricket will start. So what are your predictions on when, you'll be able to get back on the field and be playing against other people?
Well, currently, actually, there's a tournament planned June 6th
Okay.
in Kentucky at T10. So as long as that doesn't get delayed, we'll be back on the field June 6th. But I think realistically, leagues and all that, will take time through the summer
Yeah.
to kind of figure out how they're going to enforce, the new
Yeah.
policies and just
Yeah.
be able to participate in a safe environment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like even in the terms of international, I guess it depends on, well, which country, who's going to be the first one to start. I feel like New Zealand, Australia might be the countries who may start before other countries do because they've actually like completely shut down their lockdown system where because they don't have any cases increasing. Versus in America, I mean, things are starting to open up, but I'm not too sure if the cases are going to start decreasing. Cases are still increasing. I think in Florida, I mean, some of the beaches opened up, and like the next day, some of the cases were also increasing and whatnot. So I think with America, I think once things start to become more free, they need to see kind of what's happening, if more cases are increasing or not, because we might have another lockdown session that happens if cases just dramatically increase.
Yeah, Florida, unfortunately, they don't report their cases anymore.
Oh, wow.
They keep those numbers to themselves. So no one knows how badly it's affecting us. But I think at the end of the day, people were tired of the lockdown. They were getting
Yeah.
frustrated with it. And, you only can make people listen for so long. So
Exactly. I mean, when it goes past 2 months, it's like it becomes difficult. Have you been going out otherwise, though?
not much. I try to avoid going out, but, little
Yeah.
trips to the grocery store,
Yeah. I mean,
and
grocery is like a necessary, yeah. So that's
the
needed. I think,
necessary things. But
yeah.
I try to avoid driving as much as I can.
Yeah. I think last week I was just like, I can't anymore. And I had to go get bubble tea. I like called them and made sure I ordered in advance. But yeah, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't wait. I don't know when this is going to end.
I know you and your bubble tea, so
Yeah, I know. Okay, we're gonna do some quick rapid fires now. So,
okay.
what is your all-time cricket memory? Your favorite memory all time?
My favorite memory. Ooh. Actually, this innings I played in St. Martin. I also missed out on my 50, but it was in a T10, so
Oh,
it was
oh,
okay.
yeah.
Um, I scored about 48, and I think the the part that's so fond of that innings is that I hit five boundaries all through the covers,
Oh,
and just
wow.
being able to utilize my favorite area to that extent in an innings, especially in a T10,
Hmm.
is just one of those fonder innings.
Okay, so my following question would be, what's your favorite shot to play?
My favorite shot to play is over extra cover.
Okay. Um, so when you're going onto a field to bat, what do you usually think about? What are some thoughts that you think about as you're walking in with your bat?
I try not to think about anything. I try to see how calm and how clear I can get my head, so
Okay.
that when it's time to take strike, I'm just thinking about the ball.
Okay. I wish I could just keep my head clear. I don't think there's ever a moment where I
No,
keep my
it's
head clear.
hard, but it's possible for everyone if
Yeah.
you practice and concentrate enough and
Yeah,
just work on it. It's
definitely.
definitely a hard skill to master, and it doesn't always work.
Hmm.
But I mean, I do get anxiety sometimes when I'm batting, but
Yeah.
I think as long as you can keep that mind calm, even if it's not clear, but if it's, just relaxed,
Yeah.
you'll be able to focus a lot more on the ball. And,
Yeah.
that's important.
Definitely. So now being an all-rounder, would you rather score a century or get a hat trick?
I'd rather score a century.
Okay.
I'm
So are
biased
you,
towards my batting.
I was about to say that, are you just biased towards that?
Yeah.
Okay. A cricketers whose Instagram you stalk.
Ooh. Again, Ali Khan. Um,
Ali, if you're watching, you got a big fan here.
I don't follow many cricketers actually.
Okay.
My Instagram started out as a travel blog,
Okay.
and I just recently started posting about cricket on it. So the amount of cricketers I follow right now is not a lot, but it's
Hmm.
picking up. And I guess the first ever cricketer I followed was Ali, since
Okay.
he's been like family for the last 7 years.
Yeah,
We've just
definitely.
gotten really close, and I think that's why he's the page I've seen the most.
Yeah. So who's your favorite international cricketer?
Oh, that's a tough one. AB de Villiers.
Maybe de Villiers. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he hits some shots that don't make sense to me,
Yeah.
but just the way he bats and the way he accelerates his innings is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Favorite food?
Oh man, chicken tikka. Yeah, I'm hungry right now. We're fasting, so I'm just
True.
like now
Maybe I
I'm thinking
shouldn't have
about
asked that
food.
question.
I'm thinking about food now, and
My
ooh.
bad. I'm very sorry for asking
Oh
that
no, you're fine.
question.
I know what I want to ask for tonight.
Good. What who was a player that you hung out with the most during GT20?
During GT20. Um, Sandeep Lamachani.
Okay. Yeah. So what is one off the field moment from CPL that you still remember?
Off the field moment from CPL. So I think it was like my first or second day in the nets with the team. And this was 2016 when Dwayne Smith played for them.
Hmm.
And he does not like me. I don't think, well, it's not that he doesn't like me, but we played a game against each other, a charity match for Lawrence Rowe.
Okay.
And he was smashing the other bowlers. But like we opened with two left arm spinners, and he could pick the other left arm spinner, but he
Yeah.
was struggling with me, and he couldn't hit me for. He kept trying to hit me, over covers, straight everywhere, and he wasn't picking the line. And I got him out that game. So when I went to CPL, and I saw, he went to bat in the nets, and I was just, they were like, "Do you want to have a ball?" And I was like, "Of course." Every opportunity you get, you take. And I balled. I was balling halfway down the pitch almost, and he just kept trying to leave the crease and hit it out of the ground. And halfway down the pitch, he just got balled, clean balled.
Oh,
The ball didn't rise,
wow.
and it just went onto the stumps. And the coach just said, "Keep balling," and just told Dwayne to keep batting because he got out. And I think, that's like a little rivalry there.
Yeah, definitely. Now, who is one international player you would never want to bowl against? Is there someone that you're just
Ooh.
like, I don't want to face,
The, the one the one player I do not want to bowl against, I actually had to bowl against him in U.S. Open.
Who?
Andre Russell.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, he got the better. Well, we had two drop catches. We dropped him twice in 1 over, and then
Oh
after that,
wow.
he took me for 3 sixes, and I'll remember that because he got dropped twice.
Yeah, exactly. You could have almost had him, but it wasn't your fault, fielders.
Yeah,
See, exactly. That's one of the best parts about US Open. You might have never imagined to be facing him and you got the chance to. So, that's something that's really inspiring, I think, for a lot of youngsters, being able to kind of play with players like these that they've grown up watching. So, it's really nice.
it is.
Now, I would like to thank you so much on behalf of MAQ TV for joining us today. Now, before I let you leave, what is a message you would like to share to our audience?
I think the biggest message right now is just take everything seriously.
Yeah.
The better off you're prepared, you know, the better the better off you are in general. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You have a little extra supplies. They last longer. You know, this stuff's not expiring. Toilet paper is not just disappearing. So just, stock up on those things. Just be prepared, especially in Florida with hurricanes. So just be prepared, stock up on things, and, stay safe.
Yeah. I think, one thing is, I mean, while things are still opening, you definitely want to take those precautions, make sure you always have hand sanitizer, mask, gloves whenever you're going out, because this is something that's not just going to go away anytime soon. So thank you all so much for joining with us today. Thank you so much, ZISHAWN, for joining us.
Thank
And
you
I
for
hope
having
you
me.
guys Of course, of course. It's always a pleasure. Hope you guys all stay safe. You know, keep tuning in to MAC TV as we're bringing a lot of exclusive news, a lot of exclusive interviews you won't be able to find anywhere else. And Zishan, I hope to see you guys in Florida soon. You know, I'm missing the cricket. I'm missing being out there in Florida, enjoying the weather there. So hopefully things get better and we get to see some cricket happen in Florida.
Definitely, I want to get back on the field. So.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you all again. Bye bye.